Hello friends, do you like to solve riddles? Let's solve this riddle further. The riddle of life. In these videos, we are only going to talk about facts, then we'll find some clues and then we'll connect those dots logically to find answer for some of the questions that we noted down earlier. So we are trying to find an answer for these questions. They are, what is life? What should we do and why? As you saw in the previous video, we found some clues from our body. If you haven't seen the previous videos, I would recommend please do that, as this is not going to be much fun. The link is in the description. Now let's take this research further. We'll find some clues from our world outside our body. And we'll also talk about near-death experience. As you know, this whole world is full of frequencies, sound waves, radio waves, electromagnetic waves, light waves. Not just the non-physical, but also the physical matter, the smallest known particle, which is atom, and the parts inside, which is protons, neutrons and electrons. Those subatomic particles inside the atom also resonate at a frequency. Now let's understand this frequency. A frequency graph has got an upward end and a downward end, and it forms a wave pattern. And we cannot experience anything if it doesn't have a top end and a bottom end. And that's what Nikola Tesla spoke about. He said everything is a frequency, whether physical or non-physical. So if you also remember from our previous video, even the feelings have a frequency. So let's note this fact down. Fact number 1. Everything has a frequency. Let's take this further. Now we'll talk about quantum mechanics. I'm not going to make it a very complicated science discussion now. Let's understand this in a very simple way. It is very important to understand quantum mechanics. And why is this getting so much popular in the last few years? Because this is disclosing many secrets of our existence. You know the traditional science, which is only 3 parts, physics, chemistry and biology. This new 4th stream, which is called quantum mechanics, is getting very popular because it's giving us some very interesting and amazing facts which will help us solve this riddle of life, and it's telling us a lot about our existence. Let's talk about this. So what is this quantum mechanics? In this stream of science, scientists are going further into the smallest known particle, which is atom. They're trying to go into the subatomic particles, which is what you know, protons, neutrons and electrons. They're going inside the atom and doing experiments on those smaller particles inside the atom, trying to develop some theories from it. And let's see what has happened. The Nobel Prize 2022 in physics went to 3 scientists which proved a theory in quantum mechanics. They have proved quantum entanglement. And why did they get this Nobel Prize? Because they proved something which is different from the traditional physics theory, which was written by Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein spoke about theory of relativity, in which he said nothing can travel faster than light. So these scientists have proven quantum entanglement. Let's have a look what they have proved in a very simple way. I'm not going to complicate this. Let's see this with an example. They took a particle which is called photon. This is an elementary particle of light. This is what light is made up of. The smallest particle inside light is what I'm talking about. Now they broke that into two pieces because they wanted the same properties in both pieces. They took one piece, we'll call that part A. They took part A in one direction 7 miles away. Then they took part B into the opposite direction 7 miles away. So the total distance between part A and part B was 14 miles, and that was done in a controlled vacuum environment. So now you know that every particle has got some sort of properties. It has got a positive or a negative charge. Some particles are spinning upwards, some particles spin downwards. So what they did one experiment to part A, and exactly at the same time part B also reacted. So if part A was experiencing something, part B started experiencing it exactly at the same time. Means the information doesn't have to flow from part A to part B. They measured this with an atomic clock and they gave a conclusion. They both were connected through something, that there was no lag in experience. So there comes a fact out of this. Things can be physically separate but connected. Let's note this one down. But how are we connected if we are physically separate? We are connected through this unknown force, which is what scientists are trying to figure out. How is that happening? What is this web or unknown force which is connecting everything even though it's physically separate? You know, this whole world, all the galaxies, the stars, the planets, the comets in the space, that physical matter is only 4% in this whole world. The remaining 96%, which is empty, which is this unknown force they don't know about. So what they have done, not just the outer space, they also looked into the physical matter. You know, the smallest particle, atom? If you look inside the atom, the subparticles, protons, neutrons and electrons. After that, what is left? The empty space between all these parts, that's also dark matter. They don't know anything about this empty space, this unknown force. That's why they gave it a name, dark matter. But we need to understand what is this unknown force which the scientists yet don't know anything about. But I'm not going to wait my lifetime for them to develop some machines and then conduct some experiments on it and then write some theories. What am I going to do? I need my answer now because I need to solve the riddle of life. There is another way. We can also experience that, but we can't because we are limited by 5 senses. Our physical body has got a limit. How are we going to solve? Think. What if we come outside the physical body into the non-physical form and then try and see what that is? I'm not going to ask anybody to die now and tell me what it is. There is another way to find an answer. How about we try and do a meditation and learn those ancient techniques and come outside our body consciously? Even that's going to take a lot of time. Yeah, it could take 10, 20, 30, 50 years, could be my lifetime. What is the simplest way to find out? How about we look at somebody who came outside the body and then that person can tell us. Yes, let's talk about NDE, near-death experience. What is near-death experience? Let's understand this with an example. When somebody dies, for example, if somebody drowns in a lake or in a river or a water body, then that person stops breathing and the heart also stops pumping. That person is declared dead, but somebody rescued that person, gave CPR or a treatment to save their life, and that person's heartbeat started again and they started breathing. So they came alive. And when that person who was dead for some moments came back to life, they shared their experience. This is called NDE, near death experience. And there are a lot of examples outside. You can also read a lot of books. These are the best sellers when people shared their experience of death. But if we want some facts, we have to look at all these experiences and only take out the common part. Otherwise, there are going to be a lot of variations. And how are we going to derive a fact from it? We are only going to look at the common stuff because that's always true. One common fact was when they came outside the physical body, they felt that they were like an essence, present everywhere. They could concentrate or think about a place and they can be there exactly in that moment. They can reach anywhere they want, but they were present everywhere. So they were not limited to time and space. Another common fact was when they detached from their physical body, they felt they were surrounded by unconditional love. And unconditional love means no strings attached. When you just want to provide and you don't want anything in return. You know the purest form of love? That's called unconditional love. That's what they said they were surrounded by. And you know, everything has a frequency, physical or non-physical. We already know from our previous video, even feelings have a frequency. Now let's note this one down. We are surrounded by unconditional love beyond our physical form. Now let's take this research further in our next video. We will talk about death. I know this is a topic which we usually don't like talking about because we're scared when we think about death. But this is a very important topic. We cannot close our eyes on this topic. We need to solve the riddle of life. It is an important part to look at. Let's talk about what happens when we are dying. The death process. We'll talk about that in our next video and we'll collect some more clues from it and let's solve this riddle further. I'll see you again. Thank you. For the next video's notification, click on the bell icon and select all.